the last place anybody would have spent $500,000 in 1993 would have been on Washington Avenue in downtown St. Louis. At that particular point in time, you know, city was a four-letter word. One day Bob Casserly came to me and he said, "Hey Tim, I'm thinking about buying a building on Washington Avenue." And I said, "Bob, buy the smallest building you can. Everybody that's done projects on Washington Avenue's gone broke." And Bob told me that he was thinking about buying the International Shoe Company building. I said, "Bob, that's not the smallest building on Washington Avenue, that's the largest building." And Bob said, "Well, if you have enough of something, you can make something out of it." And we gradually unveiled the buildings. We tore off all of the window guards so it didn't look like a prison, you know, and then we washed the windows. And then we washed the neighbors' windows, because at that particular point in time there had been pretty much of a mass exodus of Washington Avenue, and most of the garment industry had fled to Mexico or to Vietnam to cheaper labor markets. So over the course of time, you know, we cleaned up around the neighborhood, you know, planted trees without permission, and we started painting other people's buildings and doing things like that. And then, you know, we started to just clean up the first floor of the building. And then one day Bob came in and he said, "Tim, what do you think about putting an aquarium in the building?" And I said, "Bob," I said, "the aquarium belongs on the riverfront, but since nobody else is doing it, let's do it." And so he dragged in a 55-foot long, almost, you know, 3.5 or 4 foot tall I-beam, and cut it up and put it between the columns, you know, on the first floor, and started to build this 35,000 gallon fish tank. And so that's basically how the whole museum started. Because what Bob wanted to do was to replicate the strong feelings and experiences that he had as a kid playing in the woods. And so we're going to build this stream that you could put a boat in, you know, and follow the boat, you know, and play in the stream. And of course, you know, you can't have a stream without logs. And so, you know, Bob had, you know, favorite trees, you know, and so you'd go out and, you know, we were on the Black River and cut down this one particular log that was hollow on the inside that became a tunnel, you know, that, you know, eventually, you know, went up into the ceiling, and, you know, and planted these dead trees, you know, along the eastern perimeter, and started to create the caves behind the aquarium. And Bob actually made molds of a stream bed out by his country house and started casting panels and developing you know, the caves behind the fish tank. And right about that time, Bob discovered gunite. He had just started working on Turtle Park, and you know, was using sprayed concrete to help create the material upon which, you know, the sculptured elements within the cave, you know, were constructed of, and what the cave is made of. And all along, no one knew exactly what this was going to be. You know, so, you know, originally it was just Bob's playground where he could do his own thing, you know, because he had spent a lot of his adult life, you know, performing or creating sculptures for other people. But this was his opportunity and his space to be able to build whatever it is that he wanted. At the end of the day, City Museum was truly a catalyst for the resurgence of Washington Avenue.